presentation of Fox Sports.
We are Baltimore. We are Ohio.
The Indians' bats woke up in the 5th inning against the Dark Knight and knocked him out in the 6th as they continue to move the line up and down the order, evening up this series against the National League champs. Mike Napoli has brought championship leadership to the clubhouse and production all over the field. Corey Kluber hopes for more of the same as he looks for his first win of the season next on Sports Time Ohio. It's a big sports Sunday in downtown Cleveland. The Cavaliers will open up the playoffs a little bit later on today. But first up here at Progressive Field, the Cleveland Indians try to make it 2 out of 3 against the New York Mets. Hi again, everyone. Matt Underwood alongside Rick Manning. When the Indians signed Mike Napoli in the offseason, you knew he brought a great pedigree to the clubhouse. He's been in the playoffs 7 of the last 9 seasons. But he's not one of those guys who just talks the talk. He walks the walk because he's giving you production on the field where it counts.
Well, he's a very good role model, and he's starting to pick up the tempo offensively. 3 out of his last 4 hits with runners in scoring position, he's been able to drive in the runs. But not only that, on the defensive side of the baseball, he's been very solid to this point for the Indians. He's picking balls. He's turning double plays. He's made some beautiful plays down the line and in the hole, and he has really picked up that defense. The Indians won only 3 teams without allowing an unearned run so far this year, and he's a big part of that.
The New York Mets offensively as a team are 24th in Major League Baseball in terms of team average, hitting just .218. But they're the first team in 3 years that has hit 3 or more home runs in back-to-back games against the Cleveland Indians.
Well, they only had 2 home runs coming into this series, but 4 home runs in Game 1, 3 home runs yesterday certainly helps. They hurt Brian Shaw yesterday on a couple of cutters. They've got a 3-run homer, 2 2-run homers, and 4 solo shots. So you're going to try and have to keep them in the ballpark today and score some runs and continue to hit with runners in scoring position. You can see coming into the series, they struggled. They picked it up here, but they still only split the series. Big game this afternoon for either team.
Yeah, 4 of those 7 home runs have been hit between Yoenis Cespedes and Neil Walker. We'll be back with today's play-by-play coming up, and we'll check in with Andre Knott, who talks to Corey Kluber about seeking win number 1 on the year. Cleveland Indians baseball is brought to you by W.B. Mason, the official office supplier of the Cleveland Indians. By McDonald's, I'm loving it. And by your local Toyota dealers, visit buyatoyota.com. Toyota, let's go places. second with a 2-out RBI double. He scores and the Indians take the lead. Jason Kipnis with his third double of the series, and that will be it for the Dark Knight. Another beautiful day here in the downtown Cleveland neighborhood. Progressive Field, nothing but blue skies overhead. Jabba Chamberlain took out the lineup card today for Terry Francona. Looks like a little kid in the dugout getting ready for this one. Maybe thinking about the Cavaliers who play later today in the NBA playoffs. He's trying to go one-on-one with Carlos Carrasco. Former Indian Asdrubal Cabrera in the lineup again today for the Mets. He's going to bat second for Terry Collins' squad. Let's go down to the field and join Andre Nadeau as more on Corey Kluber and his efforts to get in the win column. It didn't happen until May last year for number 28.
It didn't happen until May last year, but for Corey Kluber, since he became a Cy Young Award winner, the lack of run support has been something that he's had to deal with. Today, he's our hear right sound of the game.
It's not my job is to worry about, whether or not we are not scoring runs. I mean, your job is to go out there and put up zeros, regardless whether it's a close ball game, low scoring game, or if the offense goes out there and puts up 10 runs, you're still trying to go out there and not let the other team score. First two starts, it's been basically just one bad inning, kind of got me both times. Obviously, you'd like to keep the big innings to a minimum and limit them to 1 or 0 runs, but really just aside from those 2 innings, things have been pretty good. And last time it was really just making one bad pitch at the wrong time.
Well, we'll see if Corey Kluber can right the ship and get his club into the win column. That's the most important thing for Corey. It's not so much whether he gets the win, it's the club getting the W. And a lot of times that does have to do more with what they do offensively than what he does on the mound. Well, it's an interesting situation for the New York Mets. The defending National League champs come into today's game 2 games below 500. They've lost 5 out of 7. Now, 10 games into the season, 99% of the teams in baseball, nobody's worrying about what your record is. You're not really thinking too much. But in New York, it's a big deal. And I guess if this is a little food for thought, last year, the Mets' largest deficit at any point during the season was 4.5 games, and that was on July 5th. Wow. They open play today 5 games back of Washington. And Rick, the Nationals don't show any signs of slowing down.
I think that's one reason why everybody's sort of starting to panic, because Washington is 9-1, coming into today. So they got off to a hot start. But, 4-5, you're around the 500 mark. 10 games into the season, every team's going to have their slumps, and I'm sure the Mets at some point in time have a chance of running off 9 out of 10 wins in a row. So you can't panic, and you just got to go out there and try and win every series. You grind it out, and right now they're struggling a little bit, but the Indians have a chance to win this series, and it should be a good ball game today.
No doubt about that, as Corey Kluber and the Indians take the field for the series finale. Kids on the diamond representing every position, getting to meet some of their favorite players out there on the field. Corey Kluber will face this starting lineup for Terry Collins and the New York Mets here this afternoon. Curtis Granderson with 36 career leadoff home runs will start it for New York. Then Asdrubal Cabrera. Michael Conforto will hit third. Yoenis Cespedes in the cleanup spot, followed by Lucas Duda. Neil Walker, switch hitting second baseman, will bat sixth. Wilmer Flores gets the start at third base. He'll hit seventh. Alejandro Diaz at eighth, and Kevin Plawecki will do the catching and hit ninth.
And this afternoon's Northern Ohio Honda starting pitcher is going to be Corey Kluber for the Indians, looking for that first win. He's 30 years old, turned 30 years old last week. And, the big, as Corey said in the open there, he's allowed 1 big inning. He made a mistake pitch for a 2-run homer in his last start late in the ball game. Never gave up his first run to the 7th inning. He's been able to do that. So, he just has to continue to pitch like he has been pitching, and I don't think you have anything to worry about. This will be his second career start against the New York Mets. The other one came back in September of 2013, and it was a win. He went 5 innings, gave up 5 hits, just a couple of runs. He struck out 5. So we'll see if he can get that win this afternoon. Let's check out the Indians defense, brought to you by Jeep. It looks like this. Ramirez in left, Davis in center, Bird in right. Uribe at third, Lindor at short, Kipnis is at second, Napoli at first, Gomes is behind the plate.
Bob Davidson has the plate this afternoon. He's the crew chief. I believe that is Lance Barrett you're looking at, who is at first base. Dale Scott down at second. Dan Isanya will be at third. Dale Scott, the veteran crew chief, with Bob Davidson behind the plate here today. With Curtis Granderson stepping in, the Indians immediately go to a shift with 3 on the right side of the infield. Uribe stays on the left side, and he looks in as Granderson takes a first pitch strike from Corey Kluber.
Granderson yesterday led off the game with a home run, the 36th time he has done that in his career, and the 12th as a Met.
Seems like a lot of times with a leadoff home run, it's either the first pitch of the game or you get a situation like we had yesterday where he's sitting 2-0, he's looking for one pitch.
Right.
He got it and he didn't miss it.
And he hit it against the wind. As you remember, it just made it over the line in right field. The wind is very calm today compared to yesterday.
Yeah.
It was blowing straight in or from the north, coming in, a little cool breeze.
If anything, it looks like the breeze might carry the ball a bit today toward right and right center. Smashed foul right side. This was the 2-0 pitch yesterday, and Granderson, for the 36th time in his career, started the game with a home run. But the Indians were able to overcome that. They roared back and won the game 7-5 to even the series up. Down and in. A full count to Granderson. Checked in, it's ball 4. Keys to the game are courtesy of Wayside Furniture. Keep the Mets in the park. That's been the issue really for the Indians in the first 2 games of this series. And get Kluber an early lead. Get him a lead, period. Get him some runs. Let's start there.
Well, that's what you talk about when Kluber's on the mound, but he said himself, my job is to put zeros on. He can't worry about the offense. If they can continue to get some hits with runners in scoring position, they'll do their job. He'll do his.
Now it's Dribble Cabrera, the former Indian. He swings and misses. You know, going back to last year, Corey Kluber has made 9 consecutive starts with 3 or less runs of support. Only one time in those 9 starts did they even get to the 3-run mark. What that does, hard to calculate, but just common sense would tell you if you don't have much on your side of the ledger,
yeah,
you're pitching in what they call high leverage situations a lot.
You know what it tells me? Kluber would never admit to it, nor most pitchers would never not. But it reminds me, if you're a hitter and your team's not scoring runs, you go out there and you try it harder. You try to do more than what you're capable of doing instead of just relaxing and go. You're afraid to give up a run. You know, and pitchers never admit that. But hitters, you have to. I mean, you can see it in pitchers.
Well, and you're trying maybe to make that perfect pitch, which usually leads to trouble.
Right. Exactly. You try to be too good.
Curtis Granderson leads at first with Napoli holding him on. And Cabrera finds the hole and a base hit. Back base runners for the Mets here in the first as Granderson stops at second base.
Well, he had Cabrera down in the count 0-2, and it looks like it might have been a little cutter down coming in here to Cabrera, you see. But it had middle of the plate. You see where Palecki was going to go and try, or excuse me, Gone was going to go try and block it. It stayed middle of the plate, and he finds the hole between first and second, so the Mets off to a good start.
Now Michael Conforto. Conforto drilled a home run in the first inning in the first game of this series. And that just missed inside.
This year with runners on base, Kluber allowing a .353 average with runners on base, 3 for 6 with runners in scoring position.
Now he's knee deep in the Mets base runners already here. Now the 2-0 to Conforto. Back out of play. Terry Francona's Chargers won their last series against the Tampa Bay Rays, taking 2 out of 3. They got an opportunity to win this series after the first 2 series of the year were split and shortened due to rain. Kluber's in a tough spot here early. 2 on, nobody out.
Right now, trying to search and try to find that command for his fastball.
And Yoenis Cespedes lurking on deck. Blistered deep and off the wall. Granderson around third will score. Cabrera stops at third. It's an RBI double for Michael Conforto. And the Mets will play from in front today as they grab a 1-0 lead.
Well, Conforto, a young man that can certainly hit the fastball. He just misses hitting this ball out of the ballpark. Let's look at the sequence. It looks like all fastballs. He misses down and in. Then that 2-seamer going away. 2-0. He has a good rip at the fastball, and he comes right back again and misses. Now a 3-1 count. Got himself a 2-seamer. It was elevated. He ripped it. Very close to getting out of here. It goes as a double. That's the 14th extra base hit now for the Mets in this series. And they have second and third, and Kluber still looking for that first out.
Yeah, they've scored a run in each of the first 3 games of the series in the first inning. But as you pointed out, with nobody out, they've got an opportunity for a big first inning. Now first base open for Yoenis Cespedes with nobody out. He's already had a monster series, going 4 for 9 with 2 home runs. And he gets ahead for a quick strike. Cespedes with a homer among his 4 hits off Corey Kluber. Foul right back, and he's in the hole 0-2. Terry Collins believes that Yoenis Cespedes will return to the field in their next game, which will be tomorrow night in Philadelphia. Mets are in the midst of a 9-game, 10-day road trip. Now the 0-2. Wow.
Slider backed him off. Good pitch coming on the inside part of the plate. Check it out on our Nissan pitch tracker. Gomes sitting away, but he goes inside with it. Maybe a little low. Maybe.
The 1-2. Popped him up. And Yan Gomes ditches the mask to the on-deck circle. Can't make the play.
I don't know if he had trouble in the sun or not, but he certainly had plenty of room going over to the fence. You take that mask off, and sometimes you have it looking into the sun. Let's take a look. He sees it, and he's got plenty of time. He never looked down to see where he was located. It almost looked like he felt he was at the screen. They're going to give him an error on that ball. We're not making that play. The 6th error for the Indians. Wow, that would have been a nice, easy out right there.
Swing and a miss. He got him to chase one in the dirt. One away. A big first out. You know, it's almost like Cespedes had 3 chances. He nearly had him struck out on a very close pitch that wasn't called. Then he gets him to pop one up, in which Gomes can't quite make the catch, but he stays with it, gets him to swing and miss for our Circle K strikeout, first of the game. And with 1 out, Lucas Duda to the plate.
Well, that's Kluber picking up the defense right there. So that's the big out right there. Get the first one.
Line drive, base hit right field. That'll score a pair. And the New York Mets have themselves a big first inning, and they lead it 3-0. Lucas Duda only his 2nd hit in the series, and he now has 5 RBIs on the year.
Well, he wasn't going to waste any time, was he? He comes down and hits that first low heater. Typical left-handed nitro zone right there, down, hits it into right field. So Duda gets his 4th and 5th RBI, and it's a big 3-run first inning for the Mets.
Neil Walker has homered in the first 2 games of this series. He has never in his career homered in 3 straight games. You know, Neil Walker's a guy who, it's not a surprise to see him hit for power. He's been one of the best home run hitting second basemen in the National League last few years.
Well, he hit one from the left side of the plate, one from the right side.
Two years ago, Walker hit 23 home runs for the Pirates. Last year, 16.
You know, with David Murphy not playing today, or excuse me, Murphy not in there playing 3rd for the Mets, Cabrera moved up to the 2nd spot, and Walker takes over where Cabrera was hitting the first 2 games. Or David Wright.
Daniel Murphy was the hero for the Mets that got him into the World Series last year, but then he wore the goat horns after he committed that costly error in which they had a chance to come back and maybe tie that series up with Kansas City. Instead, the Royals took a commanding 3-1 lead and eventually won the World Series. 1 on, 1 out. Neil Walker awaits the 1-2 pitch, and it's swing and a miss. Kluber has his 2nd strikeout, and they are 2 down.
Walker going after the slider here from Kluber. And both his outs in this inning have been strikeouts.
Wilmer Flores is 1 out of 10 to start the year. Pops him up. Rebay into foul ground. Now straddling the line back into fair territory for the final out of the frame. But the Mets strike for 3, and the Indians are coming to bat when we come back. is presented by Progressive. Rajai Davis will lead it off, followed by Jason Kipnis. Francisco Lindor will bat third. Mike Napoli riding an 8-game hitting streak will hit cleanup. Carlos Santana is fifth, and Yan Gomes, Marlon Byrd, Juan Uribe, and Jose Ramirez.
This afternoon's Northern Ohio Hyundai starting pitcher, Steven Matz, the left-hander, 6'2", 200 pounds, and 24 years old. He's got a very good arm. He's got a good fastball. He's only made 7 major league starts, and he's pitched very well, although he was roughed up against the Marlins in his last start and only start this year. He went an inning and 2/3, gave up 6 hits, 7 runs, 7 earned. He gave up a big home run to Stanton, and he struggled, with his command. But he has an explosive arm and a very good fastball.
That's the only time he's been beaten in his 7 major league starts. Rajai Davis takes up high, ball 1. And he misses again, 2-0.
And here's another. You make him command that fastball early. Get it in the zone.
Rajai pops it up, shallow right. Walker out. He'll give way to Granderson. 1 away.
Boy, you can see a nice bright sky out there for all the fielders to look into the sun. Let's check the Mets defense behind Matz this afternoon. Conforto in left, Deasa in center, Granderson over in right. Flores gets the start at third base, Cabrera short. Walker is at second, Duda at first. Walecki behind the plate.
Steven Matz's implosion in Game 1 against the Marlins was somewhat inexplicable in that, his last Grapefruit League start was against the Washington Nationals, and he went 5 2/3 innings. Gave up 1 run on 1 hit. Then his last spring training start came in Las Vegas in an exhibition game against the Cubs. We all know what that Cubs lineup can do as Kipnis goes down on strike. They're a powerful lineup that has hit everything in sight. And that day they had their starting lineup in there. All their regulars were in there. And Matz went 5 no-hit innings against that lineup. And then he comes out against the Marlins and can't get out of the second inning.
I watched that start, though, and I will say this. I was checking it on television. He made some really good pitches, and he got squeezed behind the plate and lost a count and ended up walking a guy, and then he gave up the big home run to Stanton. And, I mean, that hurt him, and I think he lost a little bit of confidence. It could have been much better than what it was. And then he never recuperated.
Yeah.
Once it started snowballing, as a lot of young pitchers, they can't stop it.
Lindor takes a strike. It's 1-1.
But he's got a good fastball. That was a nice change up there to Lindor.
Not a play. Francisco, the switch hitter, has done his part against lefties so far this year, and the Indians have seen a slew of them. He's gone 7 for 12 against the Southpaws. Make that 7 for 17, and he strikes out to end the inning. 1-2-3 go the Indians. 3-0 New York.
MLB.com at bat. Stay connected all season long with radio broadcasts, video highlights, stats, news, and more. You can download MLB.com at bat, the #1 app for live baseball on your smartphone and tablet.
Alejandro De Aza leading off, and he takes a strike. Played on the left side. And another pop-up, this one in play. And in comes Jose Ramirez to make the catch, one away. Stat of the game brought to you by Buick. In 12 interleague starts, you can see Corey Kluber has been just outstanding with an ERA of well under 2 at 10-1 record.
Yeah, 10-1. It's dominating with a 181, but the Mets jumped on him early today. So his job now just to keep it right there until the offense gets on track.
Kevin Plawecki, the Mets catcher, files the first pitch back. Travis d'Arnaud was drilled by a pitch on the elbow in yesterday's ball game. Terry Collins said he's going to give him today, tomorrow, and hopefully get him back in the lineup on Tuesday.
Yeah, he was hit very hard yesterday. Solid right on the elbow.
So the Mets backup or emergency backup catching plans would include either Eric Campbell or Neil Walker. Plawecki cuts and misses in the count 1-2. Plawecki is a guy who came out of Purdue. He was a top pick of the Mets a few years ago. And the former Big Ten product takes a called third strike, and there are 2 down in the second inning.
Third strikeout for Kluber. First one looking. Going to nail the outside corner with a nice little comeback. You see the late movement on that pitch coming back on the outside part of the plate. It comes back in, gives up on it, gets the call.
Top of the order, and Curtis Granderson. And he takes low ball 1. Fly ball deep left center. Rajay fighting the sun, can't find it.
Yeah, he was running it right into the sun. Nothing he could do about that.
Granderson all the way to third with a 2-out triple.
You know, you knew he was going to have problems with it when he was going to left center field. He puts the glove up and now he can't find it. He's trying to pick it up. You stay with it, but he never could pick it up. It never came out of the sunshine for him, so there's not much you can do. Boy, that was right into left center field, and Ramirez was over. He had too far to go to try and catch it. That's just one of those, I told you, that's a tough sun field. This is like Arizona today.
Yeah, there is not a cloud in sight. And it's Dribble Cabrera, who singled his first time up. Now a chance to drive in a 2-out run for New York. And it's low ball 1.
It's a lonely feeling when you're an outfielder or even an infielder, when you're looking up in that sky, you're looking for the baseball and you can't find it. It's worse when you know there's runners on base. At least this one, nobody was on base. He has 2 outs, and now he's got a chance to get out of it because Rajay would have caught that ball. He had he was there in plenty of time. He just could never see it.
A 1-ball, 1-strike count on Cabrera. He tries to bunt him in.
Heads up.
Kluber off the mound, slips and throws it wide, and down the line it goes. The run scores, and it's dribbled Cabrera into second base.
What a really nice play by Cabrera. I mean, he caught Uribe off guard, and Kluber tried to make the spectacular play, but it was such a good bunt, he couldn't do anything. I remember him doing that one other time late in the ball game, and it was against the Boston Red Sox here, that they ended up coming back to win a game with a 2-out bunt like that. And Kluber did everything, but it looked like his foot slipped on the throw, throws it wide, so they'll get another error. It'll be a base hit, RBI for Cabrera, an error on Kluber.
Nothing New York. And the batter will be Michael Conforto. Down and in, ball 1.
Well, they get another 2-out run there. That's a big run right there when you can add on after that first inning, and it was a sun ball that allowed Granderson to reach.
Hard hit ground balls by Napoli. Down the line it goes. Another run will score. Cabrera is home free. Conforto into second with his second RBI double of the game. 5-0 New York.
Well, this kid can hit. Second double, second RBI. He gets something on the inner part of the plate and right over the bag. Or did it hit the bag? I think that ball might have tipped first base. Look at Napoli going over to dive for the ball, and then all of a sudden it stays down, so it hit the base and it kicked to the inside. Watch it. Boy, just caught the top of the base and deflected it.
Like it redirected.
That's exactly what it was. Rolls down into the corner. 16 extra base hits for the Mets in this series. They have 3 today.
Ross Detweiler already getting loose in the Cleveland bullpen. Cespedes will pop one to center. Again, no guarantees here. Davis can't find it.
Wow.
Another run scores for New York, and it's 6-0.
Wow, I thought he had it that time because, you know, I thought he played it off to one of the sides. But boy, he's looking straight up into it, and I don't know. See, when you're standing flat-footed, I thought he had it right there, and it was off to the side. But he never sees it, and it's way behind him over there. So that'll go as another double, another run, and holy smokes, the wheels are falling off. What are you going to do? You either get darker glasses or holy smokes. This is worse than Arizona. So three pop-ups today by the Indians. They were not able to catch. Gomes, he gets an error on that one. But this one's a triple. The next one's going to be a double. That one was off to his right. This one's behind him off to his left. And not even close on either one of them.
You know, and that's a situation where I get it as far as it's tough to penalize the fielder for something that's kind of beyond his control, which is fighting the sun. But how in the world can the pitcher be penalized for a ball that's basically popped up?
Well, I understand, but you can't catch what you can't see. There's drills, you have to work on it, and they do it in spring training. I don't know if the glasses are dark enough or he needs darker glasses, whatever. It happens to a lot of fielders, but you can't catch what you can't see.
I don't know if I've seen it happen twice in one inning.
I haven't.
Like
Not to the same player like that.
Yeah.
We saw it here, witnessed it with Torrey Hunter when they were with the Angels, when he dropped the ball in right field, and there was a 9-time Gold Glover dropping a ball. You're thinking that never happens. And I think it ended up costing him a game.
Yeah, it did. Due to fouling it off.
You know, it's just a matter of it's up there today. We haven't seen, we watched him in the spring lose him in Arizona, but never 3 in the first 2 innings of a game here in Cleveland.
The 1-2 pitch. Duda takes a called third, and the inning mercifully comes to an end. But the Mets tack on 3 more and lead it 6-0. Fielders are dealing with out there, but it just gives you an idea. There's no clouds, so there's nothing. Once that ball, if you lose it, there's nothing to pick it up against in terms of a backdrop.
But you know, usually when an outfielder loses the ball or something, he'll let another player out there know, I can't see it, I can't see it. But sometimes you just have to wait till it comes out of the sun. And obviously those 2 balls did not for Rajai. They just never came out of it. Nobody feels worse than he does right now.
Again, he was not charged with an error on either of those plays, and now they have taken the error away from Yan Gomes on the pop-up that he did not make a play on behind home plate in the first inning. So the only error on the board for the Tribe is on the throwing error by Corey Kluber. So how's that a kick in the pants if you're the pitcher?
Yeah, right.
Well, Mike Napoli at the plate, the Indians down a half dozen. Swing and a miss. It's 2-2. Now, the way the Indians have been swinging the bats of late, it's not like you could just automatically say, well, this game's over.
Look, you got 24 outs to go.
They've had
in this ball game. There's plenty of time.
10 hits or more in 3 straight games. That's bumped their batting average from 208 up to 255. That's not going to help. Called third strike, and Matz has whipped 3 in a row.
There's certainly plenty of time. You're not going to have to do it all at once. The thing of it is, you got to nickel and dime it.
Let's go down to Andre, who has more on left-hander Steven Matz.
You know, and talking to Ty Van Berkeley, the hitting coach of the Indians, he says, "But Matz is obviously talented. He's got a great fastball, but he said if his command is off, he goes, he told the guys to watch for the curveball. And on the first inning, he got 2 strikeouts with the curveball. That is the pitch they're kind of reading off of because they're worried about his command, but the curveball is the pitch to look for."
Well, he can go out there free and easy now with a 6-run lead and not have to worry about making a mistake with a set fastball. It may make him relax. Let's check and see. He has fanned the last 3 guys.
Santana rolls one to first. Duda had a little trouble with it, but he recovers in time. 2 away. And we'll bring up Yan Gomes.
I want to see the Indians hit a couple of fly balls in the air and see if the Mets have any problems with them.
Gomes looks at a strike. Upstairs with it. And there's a line drive base hit into center field. Well, Yan Gomes has the Indians' first hit of the afternoon.
Yan Gomes takes it right back up the middle on a nice fastball down and away. You see he kept the weight back. Nice swing. Indians' first hit. It's a 2-out single.
And that will bring up Marlon Byrd. Byrd a homer, 4 runs batted in. He has a double so far on the year. And a little bit low. 2-0. Just missing 3 balls, no strikes. In their 9 games so far this year, the Indians have scored at least 1 2-out run in 7 of the 9 played. So they found a little 2-out magic early in the season. 4 straight games, scored a run with 2 outs. And the 3-1 to Byrd. Taking again. Now the count is full. Runner goes. It's ball 4. And the Indians have a pair of base runners with 2 outs here in the 2nd inning.
You can watch the game from the corner in right field or the new drink rails in left field with the district ticket presented by Sports Time Ohio. District tickets only $13, and that includes your first drink. Available online now at indians.com/district ticket. And What a day to be out there, huh? Right field, left field, all packed. Beautiful.
What was the game time temperature here today? 53.
Boy, it seems a lot warmer than that.
I would
a lot
agree.
going on in the plaza today as well.
Oh,
It's packed down here.
Yeah, it's a flurry of activity in and around the ballpark today. See if the Indians can get some activity on the base paths.
I like
as
your thought
Uribe
process.
takes a strike.
2 outs right here. If you could get one on the board and answer, it would go a long way. Just to get on the board, give you a little life.
Uribe pops it foul, and that's into the seats. Two-strike pitch up high. I know the old saying, there's no crying in baseball, and you can't feel sorry for yourself after what just happened, but boy, it's got to make you kind of scratch your head and go, boy, is this just not our day when you see plays like that happen? 1-2. Uribe bounces it towards third. It's off the glove of Flores, but he recovers in time to get the force at second base. So the Indians get a couple aboard, but can't cash in, and after 2, it's New York 6, Cleveland nothing. Time brought to you by Miller Lite. Well, it's a 6-0 New York lead as we roll on to the third inning. Neil Walker to lead it off for the Mets. Struck out his first time up. Hard hit bouncer to Kipnis at second base, and we got one away.
Now stepping in for the Mets, the third baseman, Wilmer Flores.
And a pitch down low to Wilmer Flores, who popped up on the infield his only time up. Good off-speed pitch. Flores swings over the top. It's 1-1. Straighten him up. 2 balls and a strike. Pop up behind the plate, and this one's out of play. So far, Kluber's been able to keep the Mets in the park, which is something that has been tough to do in the first 2 games of this series, as the Mets touched the Indians for 7 home runs. Swing and a miss. Kluber strikes him out, and there are 2 down.
Now stepping to the plate for the Mets.
Make a difference this summer, and Bike to Cure in Velasano, taking place July 29th through the 31st. Every dollar raised advances cancer research at Cleveland Clinic. Team up, get involved at velasano.org. Here is Alejandro De Aza, who flied to left his only time up. The Mets are the first team to hit 3 or more homers in back-to-back games against the Indians since the New York Yankees did it back in 2013, and they were back-to-back games in April. Something about the month of April, I guess, April 8th and April 9th. And that also occurred here in Cleveland when the Yankees hit 3 home runs in the first game and then hit 5 in the next. But a rare feat, especially against the pitching staff that has been so good in the last several years. The 1-1. Strike call.
Looks like he's got De Aza caught in between right now.
Swung on and missed. He struck him out. A half dozen Ks for Kluber. He's retired 4 in a row. As we go to the home half of the third, and Jose Ramirez will lead it off.
Jose Ramirez, very good. Thank you, Iggy.
Ramirez has done a nice job. He's hit in 6 of the 7 games that he has played in so far this year. Trying to bunt his way aboard, get something started, but fouls it back. Now the 0-1. Takes a called strike, and he's in the hole 0-2.
I'll tell you, for Matt's out there, he's free and easy. And that ball, it's like an easy 94, 95. I don't know if as a hitter it sneaks up on you.
Cabrera gets the room service hop. One away. Today's injury report is brought to you by the attorneys at Elk and Elk. Josh Tomlin, that hamstring tightened up on him, forced him out of the ball game yesterday. Brantley Chisenhall continuing to rehab. Tommy Hunter hopefully will be ready very soon as well. And we'll go down to Andre to get the latest updates on some of those guys in terms of where they're at. Rajai Davis trying to beat a bunt up the first base line. A barehand grab and throw, and he's safe at first. Bang, bang play. Davis with his speed able to beat it out.
I'll tell you what, Duda, he looked into the dugout and says he thought he had him. He shook his head that he was out. And his manager's waiting for their video guy.
Hold on.
And I'll tell you what, it was a really nice play on his part. It handcuffs him to get that ball. Boy, that's going to be close.
I don't think you can get that one overturned.
I don't either. And I think Terry Collins agrees. That was a tie. It looked like he got down the line. There's a step, and yeah, you're not going to get that one overturned. That's good hustle. It's a base hit for Davis.
So an infield single for Rajai, and it will bring up Jason Kipnis.
That is a really tough play with the runner going down the line, the pitcher having a, even though it was a left-hander, he had a better chance. If it was a right-handed pitcher, he would have had a tougher view. But a nice play by Duda to just catch the ball.
Let's go down to Andre. Any news? Is there anything new to report on the injuries?
Yes, here they'll go. Chisenhall he's here today. Both Chisenhall and Brantley are here today. Chisenhall will go back to Akron. He'll play right field tomorrow, DH on Tuesday. And if everything goes well, he'll be back on the roster on Wednesday. For Brantley, he will go back to Akron. He'll play again tomorrow, take a day off, and hopefully by the end of the week, he'll play back-to-back games in the minors. And we could see him by the weekend or the beginning of next week with the Tribe if everything goes well with that shoulder.
All right, thanks, Andre. Indians will be in Detroit next weekend before heading to Minneapolis and then Philadelphia to wrap up that next road trip. So maybe at some point on that road trip before the month is over, we'll see Brantley and Chisenhall both.
Well, then certainly some moves have to be made. Do you get rid of one of the pitchers and also another outfielder, or what? I mean, I'm sure they still have to decide on that.
Well, I think that's for Brantley to be activated. I think it's got to be, let's make sure he's healthy enough where he can play every day, not where you've got to kind of ease him into it, because then you're going to have to keep an extra guy.
Right. No. When he comes back, he'll be ready to go, and he'll be ready to play every day, or they wouldn't make the move.
Double play ball, couldn't have hit it any better to Cabrera as he turns 2, and after 3, it's all Mets so far, 6-0 New York. Kevin Plawecki will lead off for the Metropolitans.
So far, Mets hitters today, when after Kluber has a 1-0 count, which he has right now, they are 5 for 7.
It's hammered deep left. That's going to be off the wall.
He gets 6 for 8.
Nice play by Ramirez. He's going to hold him to a long single. Boy, he's done a nice job playing that wall.
I'll tell you what, he had his first assist out there. Was it yesterday?
Yep.
So that 1-0 count, and there they go. They look for that fastball. They're searching after that, and he hits it off the wall. Well played, but it's hit number 8 for the Mets.
And so, top of the order now, Curtis Granderson, who has walked, tripled, and scored 2 runs. By all rights, the triple probably should have been caught. It was a fly ball to deep left center that fell on the warning track, while Rajay Davis couldn't get it out of the sun. He just looked like he had a beat on it, and then obviously never saw it at the end.
Well, I can see this one because it was in left center, and he had to angle it over that way, and you never really could position yourself to get it out of the center of the sun. The other one fooled me, where he had time to get out of the way for Cespedes, you know, and sort of angle it and push it to one side of your body.
He went too far, says Bob Davidson. 1-1, or 1-2 rather. Missed down and in. Back to even at 2-2. Just a bit outside, and now the count is full on Granderson.
Tried to go with the backdoor slider there, find that ball and bring it in on the outside corner. It just didn't come in enough. Stayed away. We'll see if they start the runner here, even though it's a 6-0 game, but it's a full count.
Runner goes, and the pitch is hit in the air to left. Ramirez will make the catch, and that'll force Plawecki back to first base, 1 down.
Well, you go back into the second inning with 2 outs, man on third base, and was a beautiful bunt by Cabrera down the line to keep it going. And they scored 2 after that. Kluber, his foot slipped, the only guy that could make that play. There was a base hit and an error on that throw, and then they ended up getting a couple of more base hits, sunballs, and it was just a big inning, and that's what made it 6-0. That great bunt.
There's Dribble 2 for 2, 2 singles, the RBI, and 2 runs scored.
You see, every once in a while you'll see a guy try and lay down a bunt with 2 outs, but what Cabrera did last night, he made sure he just put it down. He didn't try to make the perfect bunt because there was no pressure. It was the element of surprise.
And a called strike. 1-1. Way out in front of it. Kluber had him fooled. And a count of ball and 2 strikes. Swung on and missed right over the top. That's a 7th strikeout today for Corey Kluber, and there are 2 down in the inning.
Now batting for New York.
Good pitch. Watch Cabrera swing over the top of the good slider. Thing goes straight down. So Kluber in the 4th inning with 7 strikeouts already.
Up comes Michael Conforto, 2 doubles, 2 RBIs, 2 runs scored. And that's outside ball 1. The 2 balls that Conforto has hit today have both been hit hard. The sun has not played any role in either of the balls that he has tattooed. And he's got 5 hits in the series in 11 at bats with 3 doubles and a home run. He keeps swinging the bat like this, it won't matter if the guy's ambidextrous, he's going to be in the lineup. For those of you who may have missed it, the philosophy right now in New York is that Conforto will primarily only play against right-handed pitching.
Well, he can change all that on his own if he continues to hit the baseball like he has in this series. You know, as all young players, a lot of clubs like to ease him into it and not throw him into the fire.
It's hit pretty hard. Left field, Ramirez back onto the track, makes the catch right in front of the wall to end the inning. No runs, a hit, and a man left. We go to the bottom of the 4th. Still 6-0 New York. Tuesday night right here when the Seattle Mariners pull into port to take on the Indians. Alan Jensen will lead our coverage off at 5:30. And first pitch, remember, is at 6 Eastern right here on Sports Time Ohio. April in Ohio, presented by Meyer. 6 o'clock games Tuesday and Wednesday, with the series and homestand finale Thursday at noon.
Yeah, Seattle, they're in New York playing the Yankees as we speak.
Francisco Lindor will lead it off. And he takes a strike.
Yeah.
Just inside. 1 ball, 1 strike. Indians need a jolt. They need something offensively to get some mojo going for them. Up high, 2-1. And you got Lindor, then Mike Napoli and Carlos Santana. So the meat of the order due up here in the 4th for Cleveland. Up and away, 3 balls and a strike. There's big Mike Napoli getting ready to take aim. Foul right back over the screen and a full count. Even with that first inning strikeout, Lindor now 7 out of 18 against left-handed pitching so far this year. Left-hander Steven Matz relacing the shoes.
Speaking of laces, those are some long laces.
I was just going to say, boy, he's got to double up a couple of times.
Got to take some scissors to those. Shorten them up.
Here is the payoff pitch. And Lindor rifles one into the gap in right center field. That'll get down. Granderson cuts it off. Lindor's going for 2. The throw not nearly in time. A leadoff double for Lindor.
Boy, what a nice approach there from Francisco. Not trying to do too much with it. The ball was away. He hit it where it was pitched. It plugged it. It was upstairs a little bit. That enabled him to go to right field a little bit easier. And he's got the play in front of him. He's just going to force him to make a good throw, and he beats it easily. Lindor, his second double of the year, so the leadoff double. See if they can take advantage of it now.
Mike Napoli riding an 8-game hitting streak. Out on strikes his first time up. Takes high, ball 1. He was going for the downs right there. A foul straight back. Our great clip of the game from yesterday with the infield drawn in and the shift on. Napoli with a 2-out RBI knock right up the middle, and then opposite field approach, another 2-out RBI.
Yeah, for Mike, 3 out of his last 4 with runners in scoring position.
Down to count 1 and 2.
Yeah, may have helped him out a little bit there. Upset with himself. That might have been upstairs a little.
Pulls that foul. Count stays 1 and 2. Napoli, both homers. All 6 of his RBIs have come during the 8-game streak. Half his hits driven in a run. Trying to get the job done here and keep the line moving. Low and away, 2 and 2 the count. With Carlos Santana waiting on deck.
Nice pitch.
Wow.
All right.
Tough one to take. Full count.
It is a tough one to take, and it didn't get called. It must have been a hair low. But boy, that you feel like that's a break. That's good fastball down at the knees.
Here is the payoff pitch. Popped him up. And this looks like it's going to be playable. Lucas Duda makes the catch. He almost overran it too far. 1 away. And we'll bring up Carlos Santana.
Well, you can see he doesn't have any sunglasses on, so it's not directly into his eyes, but it's still a tough play. Everybody looks a little shaky. That's a high sky, looking up into that blue sky and picking up the baseball, and that was up there for a while. You get a little dizzy waiting for it to come down.
Carlos Santana will bat here with a runner in scoring position and 1 out. It was on this date 52 years ago that the New York Mets played their first ever game at Shea Stadium. The 0-1. Their first couple of years they played in the Polo Grounds. But on this date in 1964, their first game at Shea, they played the Pirates. They lost that game 4-3. And Willie Stargell was the first opponent to homer at Shea Stadium. Santana bounces it to first base with the flip. There are now 2 down. Willie Stargell will go on to hit more home runs against the Mets than anybody ever has. 60 career homers against the Mets.
No kidding. Well, you get your first one against the ball club, and he had good feelings ever since, huh, for the rest of his career.
Yes, so.
And he could hit them as far as anybody.
You know, I didn't realize it's kind of an interesting nod to baseball history, but when the Mets came into being in 1962, of course, the Brooklyn Dodgers had left for LA, the New York Giants had left for San Francisco. So the Mets color scheme is a direct nod to both of those clubs. It was Dodger blue and Giant orange. Was their original color scheme.
Did not know that.
And the script NY on the cap is sort of a nod to the old Giants, the way they had it in their cap back in the New York days. And a strike call. It's actually kind of brilliant marketing when you think about it. You're not going to get the Yankee fans to change allegiances, but if there were old Brooklyn fans and New York Giant fans that were still around, hey, come be a Mets fan now.
Well, there's a lot of Mets fans now. And we talked about it, I think, Friday night with them. They're pretty much, they take over the tabloids a lot. Where the Yankees used to dominate, and it was all about the Yankees. Well, the Mets have something to say about it now. That good young pitching staff getting to the World Series last year. Although they did not win it, it was an exciting year for them.
Up high to Yan Gomes, who singled with 2 outs in the second inning. 2-out base hit right here would get the Indians on the board with Lindor down at third base. Strike 3 called, and Steven Matz has worked 4 scoreless frames here in Cleveland, and New York leads it 6-0. On furniture and mattresses, shop Levin's. And by T-Mobile, get major league coverage. T-Mobile has doubled its 4G LTE in the last year. Corey Kluber has racked up 7 strikeouts on the afternoon, but unfortunately, a bad first inning coupled with the really rough second inning in center field for Rajai Davis has led to a big New York lead. Yoenis Cespedes leading off the 5th and fouls it off.
Cespedes DHing in this whole series. Normally he's out there playing center field. He went into the stands in New York the day before they got here. Was a little sore and stiff, so they DH'd him here in the American League town, which is not a bad idea.
He waves at it, and Kluber strikes him out for the second time today. Number 8 on the afternoon for Corey Kluber. Our in-game recap brought to you by your local Toyota dealers. Lucas Duda, 2-run single, made it a 3-run first. And then Michael Conforto with an RBI double. And then this was the exasperation of the inning. The second ball in center field that Rajai Davis lost in the sun, directly leading to all 3 New York runs. Fastball strike to the outside corner. Hit to right field. Marlon Byrd now his turn to fight the sun. He can't find it. Rajai does. It's all about the angles here
yes,
today.
It is. And you see he was in right field now as that sun moves. Earlier in the game, he's going over there and he realizes Rajai comes up and picks his teammate up because he knew he couldn't see it. A better angle for him. And that's what you have to do out there. You really have to communicate. If it was up to him, another one would have fallen for a hit. But Davis comes over to help him out and says, don't worry, I'll pick you up. He knows what it feels like.
Batter Neil Walker now. Outside ball 1. A 1-2 pitch. And a weak ground ball hit to Jason Kipnis. And Kluber works a 1-2-3 fifth inning. 6-0. Bottom third of the Indians' order two up here. Marlon Byrd, Juan Uribe, and Jose Ramirez. Byrd walked his only time up back in the second inning. Well, Steven Matz seemed to have put the problems of his first start behind him.
Well, when you get a few runs early in a ball game like the Mets did, 3 in the first, 3 in the second, I'm sure it helps him relax. He had a quick 1-2-3 inning in the first, and then he's been on pretty much cruise control. They have one hit in the last 3 innings, one in the second, one in the third, and one in the fourth, but he's been able to keep him off the board.
Fastball in there for strike 3 call. Number 5 for Steven Matz.
You know, he's smooth, he's free and easy. He's got a good fastball. There was the curveball. That's about 76, 77 miles an hour. He's got about a 94 mile an hour fastball that matches his changeup. He got a double play ball earlier in the ball game. So he has really been in total control. There's a nice fastball he locks Yan Gomes up with. So he's back-to-back called strikeouts.
Takes a little something off, and Uribe's out in front of it.
Well, they know Uribe, a good fastball hitter, so they start him off with the changeup, and they get a big swing and miss.
Upstairs, 1 ball, 1 strike. Changeup. Fastball up out of the zone. They know him very well.
Sure, show the fastball. Come back with a breaking ball. There's the curve ball. He missed high.
Just by Matz. But Walker, the second baseman's there to clean it up. 2 away.
Well, kids tickets start at just $10 for kids 12 and under with the purchase of an adult ticket. The tickets are located in the family deck out at Progressive Field and are available only at Indians.com.
Jose Ramirez takes it outside. Grounded out his only time up. Up and away. And he misses again. 2-out walk for Jose Ramirez. That'll keep the inning alive as we turn it over to the top of the order now, and Rajai Davis. Davis had a bunt single back in the 3rd inning for Cleveland, extending his hitting streak to 5 in a row. Cuts and misses. Pitch in there, fastball, maybe a little cut fastball for a strike. Not quite the 94 to 95 mile an hour blazer we've seen. Well placed. And that time, Rajai went fishing, and that's a half dozen Ks for Steven Matz. And the Mets continue to cruise, leading it 6-0.
Command his fastball early, but boy, once that slider started to take place and set in, he set off those Mets hitters and has 8 strikeouts on the afternoon and has kicked it into gear. You can see the slider working very well. He had a tough time commanding the fastball in that first inning. But since that point, he's been pretty much locked in.
Now Corey Kluber goes to work on Wilmer Flores here. And a weak ground ball hit to third. Juan Uribe will throw him out, 1 down.
Now hitting for the Mets, the center fielder, Alejandro De Aza.
Alejandro De Aza fly to left in the second, went down swinging in the third, and looks at strike 1. Breaking ball down on the dirt.
Corey had him really confused in his last at bat. He had him caught in between and made quick work of him.
Ball up and away. Low.
Now that's, if you're a hitter, that's how you want to hit off Corey Kluber. You want the count in your favor, where you don't have to swing at the close pitches. And you can sort of zero in on something that you like.
Line to left, and Jose Ramirez made a nice play on the ball. He broke in, stayed with it, and has it for out number 2. Let's go check in with Andre Knott.
You know, last year it was the corner guys where we'd like to go hide on certain days, but it's nice today, so we figured to come out to the new home run porch out here in left field and check out the conditions. A pretty fun spot to watch the game and to watch Jose Ramirez kind of learn how to play left field. You can stand and go to Indians.com to find tickets that are perfect for here in left field.
And hey, Andre, nice and sunny and warm out there, or what?
It's nice and warm in the sun. I almost cut my sunglasses on, but I decided to take them off. I didn't want you to get too jealous.
You could put them on right now. That looks like a great spot.
I do notice, Andre, that most of the people are over there in the sun.
Yes.
The shaded portion of the drink rails, not as many people over there.
Yeah, the shade's no good out here. You got to find the sun. Yeah. I don't even know whose sunglasses I have on, but they're good.
They'll be years after.
There's a base hit in the center field by Kevin Plawecki, Mets catcher. 2-out single keeps the inning alive, and that snaps a string of 8 in a row retired by Corey Kluber.
Yeah, it was Plawecki that led off the 4th inning with that base hit off the left field wall. So he's got 2 hits today. He's 2 for 3.
Top of the order, Curtis Granderson. Yeah, the rails down there in left field, and then you look over there in the right field corner in front of the corner bar. That whole area and section is packed with people.
It sure is.
Become a very popular spot here at the ball yard. Down low.
8 of the 9 Mets hits this afternoon have come on 3 pitches or less. So, you know, they're looking early in the count on Kluber, as so many teams do. Especially if you haven't faced him or you don't have a good track record against Corey, and not many people do.
Granderson walked and scored in the first, and then he hit a fly ball that was lost in the sun, went for a triple in the second, scored twice in the first 2 innings, and flied to left his last time up.
You know, and that triple, that all came with 2 outs in the second inning. You know what I mean? They had their 3, they got him early in the first, but boy, that was when Cabrera had that bunt hit, and they added on 2 more after that.
Kipnis takes care of Granderson to end the inning. We'll go to the bottom of the 6th. It remains 6-0 New York. On your mobile device, just go to the App Store, download the free Fox Sports Go app, log in, stream the Indians wherever you may go. Steven Matz will start the bottom of the 6th at 74 pitches on the afternoon. He's only retired the side in order 1 time. That was in the first. But he's kept the Indians off the scoreboard, and they have not been able to get any traction against him. We'll see if that changes here in the 6th as Jason Kipnis leads off and takes ball 1. It's up high. That'll leave the count of 1-1.
Matz has been in control. He's given up 3 hits. He has the 6 strikeouts. He's walked a pair. But you can see why the Mets are high on this guy. He's got very good stuff for a young pitcher.
Strikes out Kipnis. Number 7 for Matson is 1 out in the 6th inning.
Ran this fastball in. Didn't give him a lot of swinging room. You can see tied him up down and in. Matz has had 10 0-2 1-2 counts today, so he's pitched from in front. Curveball. It looked like that might have been a changeup to Kipnis down and in.
Lindor lines it right at Walker, the second baseman, 2 down. Can't do much better than that. He hit it hard, barreled it up, but it was right at Walker. And with 2 gone, Mike Napoli to the plate, 0 for 2 on the day. Mets scoring in the 1st inning for the 3rd straight game. After solo homers in each of the first 2 games, they put up a 3 spot in the 1st today. And then doubled up with another 3 spot in the 2nd. That's been it. Napoli sends a fly ball to right field. In comes Granderson. And Steven Matz breezes through the 6th. Indians baseball is brought to you by the Injury Lawyers at Elk & Elk, proud partner of the Cleveland Indians. Call 1-800-ELK-OHIO. And by Ford, built Ford tough. Heritage Park here at Progressive Field, located beyond the center field wall. We go now to inning number 7, and the Indians make the Cleveland Clinic call to the bullpen for Ross Detweiler. As the left-hander comes on in relief of Corey Kluber. Detweiler making his 4th appearance on the year. Detweiler came on in the series opener and gave up a home run on the first pitch he threw to Neil Walker.
Yeah, you're right. 2-run homer.
That was the difference in the ballgame.
Asdrubal Cabrera, Michael Conforto, Yoenis Cespedes for New York here in the 7th inning. Cabrera 2 for 3, 2 singles, an RBI and 2 runs scored.
And Lagares is coming out into the on-deck circle with Detweiler being on the mound.
Well, at least Terry Collins is consistent with his message. That's what he said they were going to do.
Well, I mean, you almost have to be. You know, this is a time where, you know, Lagares, you want him to play and or get some time in or get some at-bats, and if you're going to do it, you might as well be consistent with it.
You know, Rick, there's not necessarily a clearly defined path for how one becomes a major league manager, but Terry Collins' story, I think, is really rather unique in that he was a longtime minor league player, spent 4 years at AAA as a player.
Right.
Never got a call to the big leagues. And after his 1978 minor league season in the Dodgers organization, he decided to go home for a year, try to figure out what he wanted to do. And he went home to Midland, Michigan, where he grew up, and he became player manager of the Midland fast pitch softball team that summer. And wouldn't you know it, he guided them to the national championship.
Is that right? Well, I'll tell you what, he's a good baseball man. His whole life has been in baseball. You know, he's had numerous jobs as far as managers go.
He could have stayed there. I mean, they offered him a lot of money and, you know, an opportunity to, you know, get a job and the whole deal. But he said, you know, I wanted to go back to baseball. Even though I had a lot of fun being around those fast pitch guys, and, you know, they've won the whole thing. So he went back to the Dodgers. He played one more season, 1980. And then in 1981, he began his minor league managing career. Eventually, he got to AAA, spent 6 years as the AAA manager in the Dodgers system. And, you know, there were whispers. People said that the Dodgers were maybe grooming him to one day replace Tommy Lasorda. That never happened. But eventually, he went on to get his opportunity in the big leagues with the Houston Astros. Cabrera goes down swinging. Not before he got a big league coaching job on Jim Leland's staff. He was a bullpen coach for the Pirates in '92 and in '93, and then eventually moved on from there. But
he certainly, what you're saying, paid his dues.
Yeah.
You know, you went down to the minor leagues, you do it. Nowadays, you know, guys, even though they may be Major League Baseball players, have no experience, and they're sometimes given jobs to manage. And that's how it's gone in the last few years, but he certainly has paid his dues. And I think there's something to be said for that, where you've got to go down and manage in the minor leagues to figure it out. I mean, it's not an easy gig.
Well, the guy right across the way from him knows the same story, Terry Francona.
Yeah,
I mean,
he started in the White Sox organization. Absolutely. Not an easy deal.
I'm sure neither one of those guys either would begrudge a Brad Ausmus or a Mike Matheny who got opportunities without managing in the minor leagues. But neither one of these guys would probably trade their experiences that they had in the minor leagues for anything.
It's called paying your dues. It's like anything. You know, how many guys actually come out and, you know, make it right to the big leagues? Coming out of, whether it's high school, college, or whatever. You can count them on one hand for as many baseball players that come to this level. You have to pay your dues. You've got to learn the way the game's played. And I think managing is all part of that as well. Not to say that there's some guys that can't do it, because there are, but
you're right, Rick, and I think it's not managing the game. You know, a guy gets done playing, especially a catcher who's involved in so much. A guy gets done playing, he could probably step into managing the game.
Right.
But managing all those peoples and personalities and everything that happens,
the media,
that's the experience.
Lineup cards, you know, coaches, things you have to deal with. It prepares you for. There's just so many things involved when you're a manager nowadays. I mean, now it's a 24-hour-a-day job, and it seems like it's all year round for the most part.
Yeah, that's for certain. There's not much free time anymore. A ball and 2 strikes for Detweiler on Lagares. And the young man is putting up a pretty good at bat here for coming off the bench cold.
You know, baseball's a game, and just like anyone, you can second guess it. Everybody has their own thoughts on how they do things. It's a tough thing to manage. You know, you got to live with the decisions you make. You know your personnel, and nobody knows it better than you do when you're the manager of that club, because you have to keep your thumb right on the pulse at all times. And it's pretty tough to do when you're in New York, or when Terry, let's say, managed in Boston or Philadelphia, for that matter. Much tougher markets to manage in than, say, Cleveland.
Well, and think about it too. It's an analogy, but it's a lot like being a captain of a ship. You've got to weather a lot of storms. When everything's going crazy around you, you've got to be the one guy. Yeah, exactly. You've got to maintain that exterior that says we're okay. I know where we're going.
Yes, indeed.
Swung on and missed, and Detweiler strikes him out. 2 down.
Now batting for New York.
And up comes Yoenis Cespedes, who is 1 for 3. And that's the other thing too about managing in 2016 compared to, say, when Frank Robinson managed you. The manager's word, while it carries a lot of weight, and he still has the final say. You know, it's not the do it my way or else kind of mentality that would existed maybe 30 years ago.
Not anymore.
You have to win your players over. You've got to be able to connect with a Yoenis Cespedes from Cuba, just as you connect with a farm kid from Iowa, and all these different personalities.
And how about the front office with the analytics that some of those guys? I mean, front office now, from what I understand, they can make out the lineups at the minor league level when you're a manager coming up. You know what I'm saying? You have players, this guy's got to play, and he's going to play here and hit here. It's not like it used to be.
Yeah. Better have some diplomacy skills, in other words.
Yes. Yeah, where a manager used to be able to discipline his kids. You know, it's like being a parent. It used to be. You could discipline your kids and do something. I don't think you can do that anymore like you used to. You could sit them or take them out of the lineup and say, okay, you want to do it that way? I don't like it. You're not listening to me. You're on the bench. And sit them. You can't do that anymore.
No, because now you'd have an agent calling the front office calling you. I mean, there's just so many people involved now.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot less wiggle room. You've got a lot more people to answer to. And back in the day, you didn't have cell phones, man. You could hide. They could try and get a hold of you. You didn't have to answer anything.
Tell them I'm out.
That's right. Computer, what? Forget about it. I didn't see that. I didn't see your email.
Yeah.
You know, scouts, think of scouts on the road when they're doing something. They had to pull off to the side of the road and go to a payphone if they wanted to call the front office, and it had to be during business hours.
Yeah, right.
Who are you going to get a hold of after? No cell phones. They probably loved their job back then. You saw them maybe 3 times a year. Before the season, all-star break, and at the end of the year. Other than that, they're doing their work.
Two down, bases empty. Yoenis Cespedes, the payoff pitch. And it's ball 4. Left-handed hitting Lucas Duda will bat now.
Now batting for New York. First baseman Lucas Duda.
No balls and a strike. Duda checks it's inside. I mean, let alone scouts trying to get, reports into the front office. When you were playing in the big, you wouldn't even have known what happened on the West Coast until the next day when you read about it in the papers.
Or heard about it on the radio.
Maybe.
because the papers wouldn't have it on the morning edition. It would
That's
have to
true.
be an afternoon edition.
Napoli takes it himself. Oh, we like to reminisce once in a while. Stretch time here in Cleveland, 6-0 New York. Here in Cleveland, and New York with a couple of defensive changes. Juan Lagares, who pinch hit for Conforto, stays in the game. He's in center field. And Alejandro Diazza moves from center over to left. Steven Matz just over 80 pitches on the day. He's still in the ballgame. There is action in the New York bullpen. 5, 6, and 7 hitters due up for Cleveland here. Carlos Santana, Yan Gomes, and Marlon Byrd. Santana fouls it off to the right. Upstairs. 1 ball, 1 strike. Santana from the right side of the plate, trying to get going this year, just 2 out of 17.
That's the one thing we end up talking about during the course of the year we haven't really yet, is how switch hitters have to maintain their swing from both sides of the plate. And, you know, not an easy thing to do. You know, Lindor has to do it, Santana, Ramirez. We have 3 switch hitters in there, and it's something you have to work on a lot.
That's the 8th strikeout for Steven Matz, 1 away.
What do you think of this kid? Pretty good pitcher, isn't he?
He's a lot better than what I anticipated. As promised earlier, it's Miller time, brought to you by Miller Lite. And I think some of that it was just because he pitched so poorly against the Marlins You know, that, well, maybe he's been overhyped to this point. No, not so much.
No, he's got a very good fastball, a changeup, a curveball to go with it. He's moved the ball in and out today. He has 8 strikeouts. He's walked a pair. He's allowed only 3 hits. He's pretty impressive. He has had 17 batters. You know, with 2 strikes. When he gets the 2 strikes, Indians are 0 for 17. So that's a case where you better get him early.
Yeah. Don't
let him get the 2 strikes.
High pop. Right fielder Granderson makes the grab. 2 away. Well, I know we have seen more and more power arms in baseball, but still, left-handers that throw 95, we just don't see that many of them. Well, so his pitching's impressive in that not only does he have 95, but he's also got really good secondary pitches.
Yeah, he's soon to be 25, so he's entering the prime of his career. It's just a matter of getting games. He's only had 7 starts coming into this game, and the only loss came in his last start, so he redeemed himself very well. And this the only other time he pitched in interleague play, he beat the Yankees, and who better to beat than the your crosstown rival? But this is his 2nd interleague start. He's got a really good chance of going 2-0.
Now Marlon Byrd walked in the 2nd. He was called out on strikes in the 5th, and as you said, what are they, 0 for 17 when they get the 2 strikes?
Yes.
Not an enviable position to be in. Indians will see another left-hander on Tuesday. Wade Miley will go for Seattle. Now beyond that, they'll go to Minnesota for 3, then Philly for 3. I don't know how many more lefties.
Where do we go before we go to Minnesota? We go to Minnesota.
Detroit.
Yeah, we go to Detroit. Right.
Now Marlon Byrd is the 9th strikeout victim of Steven Matz here today, and he has now set down the last 7 in a row. Presented by authority of the Cleveland Indians and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Cleveland Indians. Eighth inning here at Progressive Field, and Jabba Chamberlain on for the 4th time this year. 2 2/3 innings. He's walked 1, struck out 1. He's given up 1 hit. They'll be facing 6, 7, and 8 in the Mets lineup. Neil Walker, Wilmer Flores, and Alejandro De Aza.
Well, it was all Mets early in this game. 3 in the 1st, 3 in the 2nd, and that has been it. Tough day for players out in the field to look up into the sky and try and see the baseball. It was a difficult day. It's tough, if not tougher than when we were in Arizona all spring long, and I didn't think you could get any tougher than that out there. But this afternoon was.
Neil Walker grounded out twice in his last 2 trips. Takes ball 1 from Jabba Chamberlain. Kansas City lost to Oakland yesterday. They're out on the West Coast for a 4 o'clock start to wrap up that series. Right now the Rays lead the White Sox 3-2 in the 7th. Tampa Bay beat Chicago yesterday. Two and 1 to count. Front 2 balls, 2 strikes. Astros are shutting out the Tigers 3-0. They're in the 4th down in Houston. Minnesota trails the Angels 2-0. They're in the 4th at Target Field. Isn't that something that both Minnesota and Atlanta started out 0-9, and both of them have won their next 2 in a row?
Yeah, well, Minnesota had to come from behind in the last 2 days, and they certainly did. But you know, like I said before, when you're starting the season and something like that, you just have to one time shake hands and say, "All right, way to go, you know, good job." And you say, you never think you're going to get it, but boy, you got to fight for that win.
3-2. Broke his bat. Kipnis lays out for it, makes the catch before he hits the dirt.
Picked it up off the ground on the run.
Did he ever?
Yes, he did. It cracked the bat of Walker, and then here goes Kipnis walking or running over there, and he just picks it up right before it hits the ground.
Number 4, Wilmer Flores.
Takes a hit away.
And up comes Wilmer Flores, 0 for 3. You were talking before, Rick, about being in the outfield and how helpless a feeling it is when there's guys on base in particular, and you get a fly ball and you just lose it. You don't know where it's at. And it drops and guys are running around the bases. I was thinking there's a ball, Mark Trumbo in right field yesterday for Baltimore. He had a ball go right under his glove all the way to the wall. Like, that's got to be a bad feeling too.
Yeah.
When you have to turn your back to the infield and you know they're circling the bases.
Well, look at that. That's a kind of tough day right there. Looking up into the sun. Ramirez, even when you make a catch, you're unsure. I mean, you're looking up there. There's a time where Bird looked up there, couldn't catch it. Davis came over to help him, and that's all you're looking for. A lot of help and communication. But you're right. If you overrun one, boy, it's embarrassing. There's no place to hide. You want to dig a hole and hide out there, but you can't do it. You just have to it's a grind out there. You know, whether they have darker glasses, you know, the flip downs that we used to wear, I think those are things of the past. You see a few guys wearing them. You see about as many guys wearing those flip downs that we used to have to wear that wear sanitaries nowadays.
But if the ball's in the sun, if it's literally right in the sun, it doesn't matter how dark the glasses are, is it?
Yeah, it'll keep your eyes in there a little bit longer, yes, than some of the shades. Yes, it helps because they have a different tint to it, where if you're looking directly into the sun, they could be as dark as the screen on your computer right there. And you know what? Sometimes it helps.
Meazza cuts and misses.
I mean, but because we see, you know, the guys they wear their shades all the time, even when it's down. You never used to do that. You used to have them up, and then when you needed them, you would slap them down. But nowadays they have glasses I just don't know if they're dark enough to look up into the sun. You see, they wear them all the time. They wear them to hit. They can wear them to field.
That's true. A lot of guys, you're right, they wear them at the plate to bat with.
You know, normally that you never, ever saw that before. But nowadays, to keep the glare out in the sun, I mean, the only thing you had was the dark stuff, you know, the cork or the eye black to put underneath.
Two. Bounce towards second base. Kipnis has it. And Jabba Chamberlain works a 1-2-3, 8th inning. Jimmy Hanlon. He has terrific tips to improve your game, and he'll talk with you about this weekend's tournament. Get inside the golf zone with Jimmy Hanlon tonight at 8 on Fox Sports Ohio. New pitcher for the New York Mets is right-hander Hansel Robles. After Steven Matz went 7 3-hit shutout innings here today.
Yeah, very good afternoon for Matz. So now the Mets pen will take over. It hasn't been much of a day for the Indians offense because of Steven Matz, but see if he can finish it with an off day tomorrow. Certainly want to get on the board.
More than half of the outs recorded by Steven Matz today were on 3 pitches or less. You know, that's how you get deep into a ball game. You just
Well, and when he got to 2 strikes, he didn't make any mistakes. He put them away.
Well, think about this. 11 of his outs were 3 pitches or less, and he had 9 strikeouts. So it was either 1, 2, 3, put you away strikeout, or 1, 2, you know, foul one off, ground one out. Just didn't have a lot of deep ABs. He's not the kind of guy, at least today anyway, he wasn't the kind of guy you were going to foul pitches off and stay alive against. Uribe pops the first pitch on the infield, and Flores, the third baseman, one away. Let's look back at our keys to the game, brought to you by Mazda. Keep them in the park. Well, they did. They didn't let them leave the yard, but the sun really hurt Corey Kluber's efforts here today. He gave up 3 in the first, and that might have been too much as it was. Yeah, it was tough to get an early lead because before they even came to the plate, the Mets had 3 runs on the board. And a strike to Jose Ramirez, who grounded out on the 3rd, walked in the 5th. And Robles coming out, throwing strikes, 2 quick ones to Ramirez. Three pitches, he took care of them, 2 down. Rajai Davis had a bunt single in the third. He's 1 out of 3 on the day. Got a hit in 5 straight. Otzel Robles ahead on the count 1-2. Rajai says, hold on, let's regroup here. High heat, and the Indians go 1-2-3. We go to the 9th. All Mets today.
We head to the 9th inning. The Mets leading the Tribe 6-0 along with Jensen Lewis. I'm Al Pulowski right next to the corner here at Progressive Field. And well, Jensen, today, well, the Indians got down early with the help of the sun.
Yeah, well, yeah, I mean, the Mets had to play through it too, but you know, you get behind that much so early. You give Matz, who really got roughed up his first start, you give him that much cushion, he settled in nicely.
He looked pretty good today, and the Mets right now up 6-0. Don't forget after the game to stay tuned to Sports Time Ohio. We'll have Indians live for you, brought to you by Conrad's Tire Express and Total Car Care. For now, back upstairs, here are Matt and Rick. Fellas.
Thanks, Al. 9th inning, and the Indians will have Dan Otero on the hill and Tyler Naquin taking over in center field. Otero's 3rd appearance on the year. He's worked a couple of scoreless innings. Kevin Plawecki will lead it off for the Mets. And then Curtis Granderson and Asdrubal Cabrera. Missed inside, ball 1. Otero delivers, and that's popped back out of play. Now the 1-2. And a bouncer that eats up Napoli. And Milwaukee reaches, which will be ruled an error on Napoli.
That ball had some spin to it too, going away from him. As Paul Lucky inside outs the ball, it's got the spin. Sort of a tough hop and handcuffed Napoli, but it'll go as an error. Well, that's the third time Paul Lucky was on base.
So Plawecki aboard to lead off the inning, and Granderson steps in. He scored twice today, takes a strike. Borderline pitch, and it's called a ball. Missed outside with it. Pulled it fair. Napoli to second for one, back to first. Not in time.
Tough one to turn right there, but Otero got himself over in position to make the play. Was right down the line. Napoli made this long throw to second base. Give Otero credit. He was over there in a hurry. He was making the stretch, but Granderson beats it out.
Down low to his dribble, Cabrera. He's got 2 hits on the day, a couple of runs scored. In the air to left, and Ramirez on his horse back onto the track, pulls it down 2 away. Our play of the game, courtesy of Pat O'Brien, back in that first inning. A bullet off the bat of Michael Conforto drove in a pair. Or off Lucas Duda, rather, drove in a pair. Conforto drove in 1, Duda drove in 2, and the Mets have never looked back today.
They were off and running.
Down low. That ball finds the strike zone. And that's 1-2. By the mound, the shortstop Lindor will go to second for the inning-ending force, and we go to the bottom of the ninth with the Indians down 6. Mets go one more time to their bullpen after Hansel Robles worked a 1-2-3 8th inning. Jerry Blevins, left-hander, comes on to pitch here in the ninth. Blevins will be facing Kipnis, Lindor, and Napoli. Jason Kipnis 0 for 3 on the day. Over his previous 4 games, he had gone 7 for 15. And already has racked up 4 multi-hit games. And a first pitch strike is in there. Quickly, no balls, 2 strikes. And he is quickly disposed of here in the ninth, 1 away. Now it looks like the Indians' streak of 3 straight games with 10 hits or more will come to an end. They only have 3 on the day. 2 of those. No, they had 1 hit came in the 2nd inning. That was a single. The other hit was in the 3rd on a bunt hit by Davis.
Right.
And then Lindor had the ringing double.
Yeah.
And that was it. They just really, it's one of those games where, in all honesty, you've just got to, much as you may hate the cliche, you've just kind of tip your cap to Steven Matz. He was that good today. Popped out of play to the right. You know, yesterday's game where Brian Harvey dominated early, he didn't have much other than his fastball yesterday, and eventually the Indians just started sitting on the fastball and they started turning them around. Matz has had all of his weapons in the first several innings here today. Lindor swings and misses, ball gets away, and he's going to be safe at first. And let's see, I don't know if that was a wild pitch or fastball.
I think it would be a wild pitch. I think it might have hit the dirt. We'll have to get a look at it and see. Take a look at it. There's the curveball coming in, and yeah, it got the dirt and it trickles away, so it'll be a strikeout and a wild pitch. And he's going to the pen. I was wondering, somebody was out there throwing. I was wondering if he was getting his work in. It looks like Addison Reed coming in.
So timeout. With 1 gone here in the ninth, the Indians have a base runner. We'll be right back. Napoli will be the batter. Addison Reed is the new New York Mets pitcher. 6th appearance on the year.
Came in and pitched an inning 2/3 on the opening night on Friday. Gave up 3 hits and a couple of runs. Gave up a home run ball. On to face Napoli and then Santana.
First baseman, Napoli.
Napoli looks at a strike. Napoli cuts and misses. It's quickly 0-2. Familia, the Mets closer, is up in the pen. He's not really heating up. He's just getting loose. Maybe a just-in-case scenario. Popped up out of play. I mean, with a 6-run lead, you wouldn't think you'd need your closer, but with a 1 out, they don't want to get caught short-handed, I guess.
Well, you just get up to get loose. Maybe that's just the part of the work. Gets up and tosses a little bit. He was off yesterday, so maybe just to get a little loose.
Napoli down on strikes. 2 away. We'll bring up Carlos Santana, who's 0 for 3 on the day. Santana has 6 hits and 34 at bats now on the year. First base line, but foul. And it's 0-2. The 0-2 swung out and missed. The game is over. The Mets strike out 4 Indians in the bottom of the 9th to put a cap on this one. And they take 2 out of 3 to win the series, as New York will leave town 5-6. The Indians fall back to 500 at 5-5 on the year. Indians get just 3 hits here this afternoon, as Steven Matz goes 7 shutout innings to get the win. He's 1-1. And Corey Kluber still seeking a victory, falls to 0-3 now on the year. Terry Collins' group came out, jumped Kluber right out of the gate. The first 3 all reached safely, and the first 3 all scored, and that was more than enough here today. Say what you want about the sun and the misplays in the second inning. The way it turned out, that was really not a factor in this ball game here today.
No, offensively couldn't get anything going. Steven Matz pitched that whale of a game, and it got to Corey Kluber early, you know, but really it's just one of those games. Here again, they didn't score. Kluber on the mound, and the Mets win the series, so they're going to have that off day and hopefully come back and try to win that first game of a series up against Seattle on Tuesday night.
It'll be Carlos Carrasco against another left-hander, Wade Miley. We'll have it for you Tuesday night at 6 o'clock Eastern right here on Sports Time Ohio. For Rick Manning and Andre Knott, I'm Matt Underwood. Thanks so much for watching. Stay tuned for Indians Live coming up next.